ॐ स्थापकाय च धर्मस्य सर्वधर्मस्वरूपिणे अवतारवरिष्ठाय रामकृष्णाय ते नमः. How to exercise our demand on God for our enlightenment, to progress, to free ourselves from the worldly bondages and be doing our duties of life with all dedication and love. Sri Ramakrishna is telling in that context, you too must force your demand on the Divine Mother. She will come to you without fail. This is a great assurance that you will never miss the path. I once said the same thing to Sikhs when they visited temple at Dakshineshwar. We were conversing in front of the Kali temple. They said, God is compassionate. Why compassionate? I asked. They said, why, revered sir? He constantly looks after us, gives us righteousness and wealth, and provides us with our food. Suppose, I said, a man has children. Who will look after them and provide them with food? Their own father, or a man from the other village? Subjects. Is not God then compassionate, sir? Master. Why should you think that? I just made a remark. What I mean to say is that God is our very own. We can exert force on Him with one's own people. One can even go as far as to say, you rascal, won't you give it to me? Means to the extreme that how much of intimacy, dependence and oneness a person must acquire. And most important thing is faith. Faith in the existence of God, and that I will be able to see, meet and talk. And accordingly, a little longing to reach that. When I joined Ramakrishna Math in 1977, the first day I met revered Bajnanji Maharaj. He said, now you have come to your eternal mother, mother here and mother hereafter forever. I could understand it. But mother here and hereafter forever was, I had to contemplate for years to understand its significance. They utter from their background. We see from our background. Mother here means like all others are there. Like she is also my mother here. Generally we take. Hereafter is little difficult to, next life and so many innumerable lives are there. His life should be there. Some understanding. But it is beyond what we can understand, what normal humans can understand. She has become the universe herself and pervading it as nature. She is governing the all lives and the whole universe, all movements in the universe. She is governing and staying independent of all this. whole universe, independent of she has her existence exclusively for the sake of jivas. Any jiva calling her, the universe will remain as it is. The nature will continue her work as it is. But this mother, who is standing independent of same mother has become universe, same mother has become the nature, and same mother is standing apart from all this distorted. Now, she is standing there waiting for anybody to, anybody calls, I am here, to say that. Until we turn to her with heart and soul, we will not be able to know that. Our heart cannot know because it is apakva. It is not ripe enough. Mind is also apakva. It is not yet matured enough to understand all this. And then she is there to take us beyond the universe into the realm transcendental. Here, remove all the bondages and suffering which are unnecessary for evolution. So all that, she is just waiting. And the day we renounce the worldly enjoyments and take refuge in Mother, that Mother opens the door and she accepts. The moment you renounce the world means the desire for enjoyments, renounce the ego. Ego is associated with kartritva, bhoktritva, this enjoyership, doership, and I know. We know only of this world a little. We may know in computer and music, that's all. What more beyond is there to know? This kartritva, bhoktritva, jnatritva is surrendered at the feet of Mother. So the day we do this, we are on the lap of Mother. Then we see, not only here, she is there when we move from body to body, if there is a need, if Mother will take, and if there is a need to get the enlightenment, serve also as saints, and still beyond, she can keep us reserved in the transcendental realm. I am secured forever. I am in the ocean of bliss forever. Bliss, freedom, total freedom from nature forever. So this, Mother beyond, when we see this, a glimpse is when the old age comes and death is nearing slowly. There are, suppose even 1 decade before or 5-6 years before the death, nobody is afraid of death. And you ask anybody, I'm not afraid of death, they say. Then what makes you that frightenedness? He is not afraid of losing everything. I'm going to lose all the family, entire family, all my possessions, everything is going to, my body is also going away. He is not bothered. His soul is not bothered about these things, gaining and losing. It is accustomed. But what does the death, fear of death? Fear of death is, after I leave the body, what is my future? Where am I going to be directed? What is there beyond? When I lose my body, I lose my family, my possessions, what all was there, I lose, and then body also dies away. After that, what is my gati? The gati, I don't know. Now, suppose anybody asks me, there is a job in foreign country, you will never come back. Will you go? Yes. I will never come back. I don't need to come back. I will get a job there, earn and live there. Because I know where I am going after leaving this. Leaving this country or leaving this place is not a problem. Because I know where am I going, where I am going to be stationed, what will be my life and position. That this here it is, I don't know my gati. What is my destination? What is my destiny after leaving the body? That creates the fear. When they say you have a mother here and hereafter forever, then, that faith in that word of an enlightened soul, here is your mother forever, here and ever, hereafter. When they say, the faith in it is really not afraid of death, because my mother is there taking care of me after I leave my body also. That real fearlessness from death comes from the faith in the after death. We listen and hear, we go from body to body and all that. But how much do we believe? There the difference comes. So that how much of, after that, how much of closeness you feel with the Mother, Divine Mother, how much of dependence for everything. To do anything, refer. To have any problem comes, refer. I want to go for bath, refer. Like Thakur. Sri Ramakrishna, when he is going to Ganga for bath, mother, hold my hand, hold my hand. Oh, ground is slippery. How we used to call mother for help. Like that for everything. Life is interwoven with the mother's presence. Just a faith. Then we can exercise the demand. Subjudge. Is not God then compassionate? Sri Ramakrishna said, why should you take that way? It was just a remark. What I mean is to say, God is our very own. This, when we say God is compassionate, I am keeping God at a distance. When I say God is my own, I don't attach that God is compassionate, that word. Oh, He is all love. We can exert force on Him. With one's own people, one can even go as far as to say, you rascal, what you give it to me. To the subject, let me ask you one thing. Are vanity and egotism the result of knowledge or ignorance? Egotism is the nature of tamas. It is begotten by ignorance. On account of the barrier of ego, one does not see God. All troubles come to an end when the ego dies. It is futile to be egoistic. Neither body nor wealth will last. Once a drunkard was looking at the image of Durga. At the sight of her decorations, he said, well, mother, however you may fix yourself up, after 2 or 3 days, they will drag you out and throw you into Ganges. All love. So I say to you, you may be judge or anything else, but it's all for 2 days only. Therefore, you should give up vanity and pride. Where so many enemies are sitting inside. pride comes before a fall. We see the egotism and pride. Pride is directed towards oneself being in a high rank. Pride. I have this, I have that, I have people, I have strength, I have beauty, all this is pride. Ego is a kind of prideness in which who is it to tell me? I know everything. To look upon oneself as high is pride. To being pride, to look upon others as low is egotism. And they run after the egotism doesn't leave you there to look down upon others, but runs towards the enjoyment, which is most weakest point in the human existence. The moment a person moves towards any kind of enjoyment, even legitimate enjoyment will create guilt within, because we are divine. The divine nature is, these things will be a hindrance to the divine nature inside, that it doesn't reflect outside anymore. So, being divine, how should I be? If that is not there, it becomes egoistic. When ego dies, all problems come to an end. It is futile to be egoistic, neither body nor wealth last. On which shall I make the pride on ego? I don't have anything. And what all I have is going to be lost forever. Even you see, once a drunkard was looking at the image of Durga. He's a drunkard, he's fully drunk, but in the drunken state, he is seeing the impermanency, all glories. As we get the spiritual maturity, slowly we understand all this is futile. And nothing needs to be given importance. All that, whatever you see will go away. What shall I make pride? I am a good singer. After a few days, great singers you see in old age, they are not able to. Instrumental players. You can see in the old age, somebody holding the instrument and they are trying to play it. They are not able to hold that instrument also. I saw a fine flutist in his old age. He came, brought his flutes open. His flute playing was recognized by so many and honors were given. I asked him to play a little. He said, "Now I cannot play. My hands do not move." A day comes when all that glory on which we can make pride or manifest our ego will go away. With maturity, the understanding, all this. So even Kabir says, you see, all is impermanent. Rama came because Ravana was to be killed. Demonical forces has to destroy. He came and killed. Rama came and killed Ravana. And Krishna came and killed Kamsa. But they too did not remain here. This world is a world of impermanency. Rama came, God came down, and he too did not remain here. What are you thinking of? Making all this permanently. We were decades before, when the ashrama came, internal roads were being made. Damal road, the tar was being put, and all our own engineers were there. The brahmacharis and others were looking after, who are experts in field of activities. And they wanted everything to last long. How much of mixture, what quantity, that quantity they may not, the proportions to be put and all, they were watching everywhere and getting done. And in one place, the laborers were working. One of the ashramite told them it is thinning, the surface is thinning. It has to be 2 inches. Now here it is a 1.5 inch. You put it properly. It has to come for a long number of years. That workers, poor workers, they were all looking. And that person told, this has to come at least 25 years now. Next, there should not be any problem. Ye shashwat hona hai, like that, a trend. Then he told them and made that properly and went away. And that laborers, one of them was smiling and telling the other laborers, look, life itself is impermanent. Tomorrow I will be here or not, I don't know. We have come here to work. We don't know if tomorrow I will be here to take my bread or not. He wants the road to be permanent. How that wisdom, you see, though they are laborers, they are seeing impermanency. What is there? Whether king or a beggar, it doesn't matter. Everything, both will disappear one day. All things will disappear. So he did not mean that we can do anyway. His telling was not, I can do anyway, even if it is mistake is there, doesn't. But the permanency which the inmate wanted, that he was depicting. He was doing with all sincerity, but we'll do this, but if permanency won't be there in anything in this world, it goes off. That wisdom appears in the mind. Once, however, you may fix up is telling to Divine Mother, at the sight of her decorations, fine decorations they make, said, well, Mother, however you may fix yourself up, after 2 or 3 days, they will drag you out and throw you into Ganges. All love. Means how that impermanency, the sight of impermanency, is up to this it is all correct. But knowing that this is impermanent, holding on to the permanent is most important. The Jagate Virag must go along with the Bhagavane Anurag. This knowing this, all the defects in this world, old age will come, all will disappear, everything is, Viveka is necessary, not for the Viveka's sake, it's not for the rejection of the world. Rejection of the world is to hold on to the beyond. So, having rejected, all this is impermanent, it is not meaningless, all that is, but you cannot leave the duty and responsibilities. Lovingly you have to do without attachment. Let there be no attachment when you do. It is dissolution of our attachment. The ego is surrender to the divine. So, I say to you all, you may be a judge or anything else. He is having that sense of I am judge. But it is all for only 2 days. Therefore, you should give up vanity and pride. Vanity, vainness, pride. Garva, pride is garva, mother, pride. Vanity is vainness, vyarthata. So I say to you, the characteristics of sattva and tamas are very different. Sattva and tamas. Egotism, sleep, gluttony, lust, anger, and the like are traits of the people of tamas. Men with rajas entangle themselves in many activities. Such a man has clothes all spick and span. His house is immaculately clean. A portrait of the queens hang on the wall. Those are Britishers' time. In his drawing room. When he worships, he wears silk cloth. He has string of Rudraksha bead around his neck. In between the beads, put few gold ones. When someone comes to visit the worship hall in the house, he himself acts as guide. After showing hall, he says to the visitor, "Please come this way, sir." There are other things too. The floor of white marble and the Natamandir with its exquisite carvings. When he gives in charity, he makes a show of it, but the man endowed with sattva is quite peaceful. So far as dress is concerned, anything will do. He earns only enough money to give his stomach the simplest food. He never flatters men to get money. His house is out of repair. He never worries about the children's clothing. He does not hanker for name and fame. His worship, charity, and meditation are done in secret. People do not know about them at all. He meditates inside the mosquito curtain. People think he does not sleep at night and for that reason sleeps late in the morning. Sattva is the last step of the staircase. Next is roof. As soon as sattva is acquired, there is no further delay in attaining God. One step ahead, God is realized. Did not you say that all men are equal? Now you see there are so many varieties of human nature. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.